thanks for watching Numbskull News. And today, I'm going to introduce the Numbskull News Big 12 Power Rankings after Week 3. Now, I'm going to do Power Rankings after every quarter. So, we're doing it after Week 3. We're going to do another one at Week 6, at Week 9, and then the final one after the season, right after the season, after Week 12. So, basically, quarter poll power rankings instead of every week. A lot of these other channels, they do every week. They do a great job. No problem with them. I just wanted to be a little different. Instead of doing it every week and it seems like it gets old to me, I don't want to feel like it's something I have to do. I don't want to feel like, it's a chore, so every 3 weeks, I think that's good enough for what I do. So let's break down the very first power rankings, the first quarter of the season. And at number 1 is Oklahoma State. They are 3-0. They haven't tasted any kind of defeat so far this year. Their best win is Arkansas, SEC team. Not bad. The next up I would say was Tulsa because, it's a G5, but at least it's an FBS team. And then they beat they beat South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, who, I know it's an FCS team, but it's one of the most dominant FCS teams in the last several years. So I got to give it to them. At least they got the best, or one of the best FCS teams. At number 2, got Kansas State. Of course, they beat Arizona. That was impressive as hell. They got their revenge game. They got revenge against Tulane. That was on the road. It was a bit of a nail biter, but they got it done. Got to give them credit. And then UT Martin is, whatever, FCS school. But, damn impressive by Kansas State thus far. And at number 3, how about those damn Sun Devils? Got to give them all the credit. Mississippi State, I know they suck. It is an SEC school. That's their best win. Texas State, G5. They're on their way up. This is a good squad. And they had their hands full, but they went on the road. They got it done. And then their third win, another FBS school. So they had 3 FBSs. I don't care if it's, Wyoming. Wyoming's been pretty good the last several years. It appears as though Wyoming's going to suck this year. But they're still a Mountain West squad. So no FCS schools at all for the Sun Devils, and they have performed honorably, in my opinion. At number 4 is UCF, the Golden Knights, and damn it, they beat my TCU Horned Frogs. They went on the road, they were down 3 scores, and came back and snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. They were my dark horse. They were scary. I knew they were scary with TCU. I was tough talking it, though, like any quality fan would. But at the end of the day, my team disappointed. UCF deserves this high of a ranking right now. They're undefeated. They also have wins against Sam Houston, which, it's an FBS school still. G5, but still a pretty good school. And then New Hampshire, which is, some dirty FCS school. But that was a high-quality win by UCF on the road against TCU, so I have to give them that love. At number 5 is Utah, and I know there's Utah fans that think they should be ranked higher than that just based off of their name, just based off of, who we are, we won the Pac-12 2 years in a row, blah, 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 blah. Well, the best win you got is against Baylor, which, look, that appears to be a pretty decent win. Baylor's 2-1. So I'll give you credit for that. But you went against Utah State. I know it's FBS, but they are pretty damn horrible. And South Utah, you haven't left the state of Utah all year. Okay? So you're undefeated. Good job. You did what you're supposed to do. But to me, you got to do more. We got to see them get in a conference play. They got Oklahoma State next year, so some of these undefeateds are going to go away. So let's see you go into Stillwater. That is a win to me that elevates Utah up to where they think they should be. But you got to beat the best if you want to be considered the best in the Big 12. You're going up against the best next week. So let's see what you got. At number 6 is Utah's biggest rival, BYU. And BYU also undefeated. Their best win is SMU. And SMU was favored above BYU. SMU had one of their best years last year, the last year in the American. This year, people are expecting them to do some pretty good damage in the ACC this year. So this is a high quality win for BYU. The rest of their schedule, Wyoming, which again, I don't think they've won a game this year yet, doesn't appear to be what Wyoming used to be. Even though it's a Mountain West school, they're really looking sorry. And then Southern Illinois FCS, but I mean, I'm struggling here. I almost think BYU deserves to be above Utah. And maybe they do. I don't know. But Baylor, I got to give Baylor a little more love. That's the reason the whole reason I got Utah a little higher than BYU. And squeezing in at number 7, I got Iowa State. Now, look, they've only played 2 games. They had an early week off. But their biggest win, I would say, is the biggest win of the entire Big 12 through the first quarter of the season. And that is against Iowa. Iowa has dominated Iowa State in their rivalry going back years and years and years. However, Iowa State took them out. And you got to give them love. I know they're 2-0 right now. There are no defeats on their record. I know only 2 games. The other game was North Dakota. And it's not the Bison. It's some other freaking FCS school. So I can't give them a ton of credit. But I'm giving them a lot of love here for Iowa, for beating Iowa. I think a lot of Iowa. It's a Big Ten team that's always, if they can have a quarterback or an offense that can score some points, Iowa's a threat to win the Big Ten. So to me, and given the history between Iowa and Iowa State, that's a massive freaking win. At number 8 is TCU, and you could accuse me of being a homer here. Like, why is TCU that high up? They've beat nobody. Well, their best win is Stanford. Everybody after TCU does not have a Power 4 win. They don't have a Power 4 win. They got Power 4 losses, but they've beat nobody in Power 4. TCU, I don't care what you think of Stanford, they're at least a Power 4 school. They're in the ACC now. So that, to me, is the highest quality win of everybody 9 through 16 after them. And, of course, their other win is with LIU, some FCS nobodies. And like I said before, they lost to UCF, a nail-biter. They were up a ton. UCF mans up, comes up and gets them at the end of the game. TCU should have had that shit on lock. They let it go. That's the way it goes. That's the way football go. So, but because of that, the only team to have a Power 4 win at this level and below in the Big 12, I'm giving TCU the spot. And at number 9, Baylor, 2-1. I'm sorry, that's a great start. That's how Baylor needed to start the season, 2-1. There was no Texas State's coming up and getting them this year. So, and it's Utah. I know that was supposed to be non-conference, but that's an in-conference game essentially against a big-time power like that, Utah. And they played Utah well. All right, it was semi-close, completely respectable loss. Their best win is Air Force. That's of course, Mountain West, FBS. At least I can say that. After that, it's Tarleton State, which who cares? But they took care of business where they're supposed to take care of business and gave them at least an outside shot of beating Utah. They were overwhelmed by Utah. That's just the way it is. But the score is respectable. The loss is respectable. So I got Baylor up in here. And number 10, for all the people talking shit on Colorado, oh, they suck, they're blah, blah, blah. Look, they beat Colorado State. It's their best win thus far. I know they got drilled by Nebraska, but Nebraska is an ascending program as well. A lot of people think Nebraska's on the rise. So even though they got killed, it was on the road at least. But Colorado State played them really damn close, really damn hard last year. And this year, Colorado, there was this no shot with Colorado State. It was on the road as well, in Colorado State's backyard, and they came to play, and Colorado got the win. And after that, they beat the North Dakota State. That is the Bison. Again, traditionally one of the best FCS programs out there. It wasn't some random FCS school that never does anything. No, this is one with tons of banners in their rafters, and Colorado was able to beat them. And I know it's an FCS school. Other than that, I'm not trying to give them total credit. But if you're going to go against an FCS school, go against the best, and they did, and they won. So they're 2-1. I'm giving them the top 10. They earned it. At the 11th spot, I'm going with Texas Tech. It's kind of tough for me because I look at like a team like Cincinnati, and I think maybe they should be a little higher. Maybe Arizona should be a little higher. It's kind of a toss-up. I think a little bit more of UNT than maybe I should, but that's their best win, and I think beating North Texas is decent quality. After that, they beat ACU, which, whatever. They got their doors blown off by Washington State. Washington State has lost a lot of talent. They lost their head coach and still were able to blow Texas Tech's doors off. They're 2-1. I don't have them at the bottom. I may have Texas Tech a little too high here, but I'm going to go ahead and give it to them because of that win against UNT. Arizona, number 12, also at 2-1. Their best win is a home win versus New Mexico. They also beat North Arizona, and that was also at home. So it's 2 home wins against competitors you should have beat. But they got handled up by Kansas State. But as far as a loss, it's probably the best loss of these schools right here. Because Kansas State is absolutely for real. But Arizona, you went on the road, you got manhandled. And your other 2 wins aren't exactly all that great. So I can't get you much higher than this in the power rankings, number 12. At 13, towards the bottom here, is Cincinnati. But 2-1 is respectable for Cincinnati starting out the season. Okay? The Pitt loss. Oh my God, they almost had that freaking... Pitt is like some cardiac kids shit going on. They're getting wins somehow, some kind of way, by hook or crook. It seems like every week. But Cincinnati let it slip away, or they'd be a lot higher than now. They would be 3-0, so they'd be, of course, be way up in the power rankings. But Cincinnati has impressed me. Their best win is Miami of Ohio, and they beat Townsend, but they damn near beat Pitt. And that's the thing. Cincinnati, I don't know. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and do it, even though I think Texas Tech has got probably the better win, but the better loss definitely belongs to Cincinnati. They damn near got Pitt. And yeah, so I'm going to move Arizona down to 13. I'm moving Tech down to 12, and I'm putting Cincinnati at 11. And they've earned it. I'm sorry. I'm actually impressed with Cincinnati. I hope the year continues to do well for them. And if you're a Bearcat fan, you got to be feeling pretty good. I think you got to be feeling pretty good at the quarter pole. Now, Houston is going to start the last 3 teams here, 1 and 2. Everyone's got at least a victory in the Big 12. That's great. But Houston, they're 1 and 2. And damn, dude. They got the best win of the 1 and 2 teams, which is Rice. At least they're an American team. They're an FBS team. I can't say that for West Virginia or Kansas. But damn, they played OU about as tight as they could ever be expected to play OU. And they got beat up pretty good by UNLV. But UNLV looks like a pretty good squad coming out of nowhere to be pretty good. And I say nowhere because UNLV has been the shits for a while. But they're 3-0 this year. Looking good. And And like I said, Houston damn near got OU. So they deserve to be at the top end of the 1 and 2 squads, to me, at 14. At 15, they're not last, but my God, what a heartbreaking loss to Pitt. I mean, just heartbreaking. They should have had that game. They had a 10-point lead in the fourth and let it slip away. Pitt, the freaking cardiac kids come back and get them. They lost to Penn State. They got their ass handed to them by Penn State. You would have thought at home, maybe it could have been a tighter game, but they got their doors blown off. They beat Albany. Who cares? All right. They're 1 and 2. Come on, West Virginia. Come on. Neil Brown is not that bad. He can't be that bad. Hopefully next week's a better week for West Virginia. Let's go Mountaineers. Come on. And just like the Big 12 of old, Kansas, who I thought was a top 4 squad in the Big 12. I'm sorry. I thought that quarterback was a hell of a lot better than he's showing this year. The most disappointing squad of anybody. And Kansas now taking their traditional place at the very bottom of the slop bucket. Number 16, Kansas. Their lone win is Lindenwood. Lindenwood. I'll give you $20 if you don't Google it. You tell me where in the shit Lindenwood is in the country. You won't know it. Illinois, one of the lower end schools in the Big Ten, handled them up. UNLV whooped your ass at home, nonetheless. Kansas, the way they're playing, I can't. Because, like, look, everybody here still has whatever outside shot at getting to the Big 12 conference title game. Kansas, I don't have a lot of faith they can get there by how they're playing. I don't see it. I don't see it. This is where they can end up at the end of the season, dead freaking last. Jayhawks, come on. You got to do better. You got to do better. This is some shit. But now that we got everybody out there, you got the power rankings out there. Let me give you some overall numbers here. Right now, we got 7 squads that are undefeated through non-conference play, and that is absolutely amazing. That's great. So much better than last year. Holy shit, last year was a nightmare. This year is what you need to do if you're the Big 12. We got to have that excitement. Now we got matchups that really mean something next week. You got Utah versus Oklahoma State. Just like this past week, you had TCU versus UCF. You got to have teams with really good records to make these damn games mean something. And we are looking at just a shit ton of meaningful games coming up in the upcoming weeks. This is exciting shit. 7 schools that do not have a loss. After that, you got another 6 schools that don't have one loss. They're 2-1. They're above 500. Hell yes. That's how you do it. We didn't know what to really expect out of Colorado, but they're 2-1. Texas Tech, maybe a little disappointing, but they're 2-1. It's better than last year. They've improved over last year. Arizona, a lot of losses. Offensive line, not really that sure. They're still 2-1. Cincinnati, one of the worst teams last year, stepped it up. They're 2-1. Just look, Baylor could easily be worse than what they are. Air Force could have got them. I don't know about Tarleton State, but last year Air Force probably would have beat up Baylor. Not this year. They're a little better. That's what we needed. We needed to see improvement. Even though it's a small sample size, just the first quarter of the season, I am at least seeing something from Baylor. But overall, 13 of our teams are above 500, if not undefeated. That is absolutely fantastic for the Big 12. It's exactly what we need. This conference is looking every bit as exciting as everyone thought it was going to be. So that's it. That's the first quarter in a nutshell. That's the power rankings. the breakdown where everybody is per team and overall in the conference. And, dude, the Big 12's looking good, looking fun, looking exciting. Everybody, every swinging D, even a small, tiny little bit of a Lloyd Christmas chance of getting into that Big 12 title game, everyone's still in it in a small way. Now, if there's two lost teams in the Big 12 title game, it's going to be a little rough to get a third team into the CFP. So hopefully we don't have that kind of scenario play out. But whatever. This thing's looking damn good. Looking fun. So let's go, baby. Let's go Big 12. Let's go TCU. Anyway, that's all I got on this crap. I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.